Hey, welcome everyone to the People Speak Out. I'm pleased to be hosting this week. Both Sass and Helen are away, so it's great to be back in the hot seat. I'm in my new HQ here, and so it's all changed. It's all been a very intense time. But before we get into the call, I will do a short intro, but it's always good with these calls, with Zoom calls, with any kind of meeting, just to spend a minute just coming into alignment. And the very best way to do that is to uncross everything. So if your legs are crossed, uncross your legs, get your spine straight, so you're nice and straight in your seat, feet flat firmly on the floor, shoulders back. And just taking 3 long, deep breaths in through the nose and blowing out slowly over the bottom lip, which is one of the easiest, quickest ways to calm the nervous system. So let's just do some deep breaths. And as you're doing those deep breaths, consciously drop from mind into the heart. Consciously come out of everything you may have been doing this morning, before this call. Consciously come out of everything that you're due to do after the call so that you can be fully present in the current moment. And just feel the support of the earth beneath your feet. Feel the support of the chair beneath your sitting bones. Know that in this moment you are safe. There's nothing else to do but be fully present to one another and the discussion which is about to unfold. And and hi to everyone who's on. Thanks to everyone for coming on early. Hi to James, Karine, Val, Richard, Suzanne, JT, Henka. Sorry if I've mispronounced that. Haley and Lisa so far. And yes, some people were saying that they didn't receive the reminder e-shot, which did go out this morning. But one of the things that I have noticed with our system is that particularly Google is blocking our e-shots. So if you're on Gmail or Google Mail, then the chances are it may be that they've been blocking the e-shots. So one thing to mention is Sass has created a dedicated Telegram channel for the People Speak Out. I put the link, it's a group so anyone can join, it's free, as are these calls, and I'll put the link in the below the recording on YouTube so that you can join if you wish, and then you'll get the reminders through there. But please don't share the Zoom links publicly because it can open us to spam if they're put onto wider onto other channels that are kind of publicly available. I've had that before what you get is spammers coming on, filling the chat with gobbledygook and abuse, and it's really not very pleasant and it's very difficult to stop it. So anyway, those are a few notices. Now the thing, there's so many things unfolding, aren't there? I mean, first of all, deep condolences to Anna de Buisseret, also one of the original Bakewell Stand in the Park members, passed away. Seems like a lot of people are checking out at the moment. On top of that, we have this assisted dying, essentially assisted suicide bill, which I feel is it's the start of a very slippery slope for all of the hand-wringing and moral debate. We all know, I think we all know deep down what it's really about, which is putting people down the bad egg chute. We are really seeing Soylent Green. If you've seen that movie, Soylent Green, it's almost like the pre-programming of movies like Soylent Green and 1984 are really coming to the fore now, where they're restricting food and giving people the way out is to go and have your suicide. Now, one thing I did post about this morning, I think it's really important for us to be aware that the state can take over your medical affairs and your financial affairs should you be incapacitated or should you be diagnosed with dementia. And let's not forget that doctors are incentivized to diagnose patients with dementia. The minute you are diagnosed with dementia, the minute you are incapacitated, the state can take over your affairs unless you have already got a power of attorney in place. Now, there are two types of power of attorney. There is a financial one and there is a health one. You can get them online and you can do it officially, but you can easily do it yourself, just as a sort of your own kind of, I won't even say legal, lawful document. And the really important thing is that you, in the event of your incapacity through illness, through accident, through dementia, that you appoint your family as the ones who can make the decisions. Because if that happens and you don't have a power of attorney in place, the state can step in. And we have seen this happen. It's been reported a lot by UK Column, and Kelly Slade, who's their lawyer, she was the one who told me a lot about it in depth. And basically what happens is if you don't have that power of attorney, the doctor who's incentivized declares you've got dementia, and then because you've got dementia, you're not considered fit to make a power of attorney, and so the state can take control. And that's what happens. They put you into a care home, they sell your house to pay for the care home fees, and then of course with this assisted suicide legislation, assisted dying should we call it, the official name, we all know it's assisted suicide, the state could then decide, could then step in and say, because you're suffering and to relieve your pain, to relieve your suffering, we're going to put you on an assisted dying path. Now, we all know that there already is an assisted dying path. It's called midazolam and morphine. So essentially it has been going on for several years, but this sweeps it all under the carpet and makes it all legal and above board. So you can see that this is the thin end of the wedge. And of course, it's all dictated by money because, of course, the less old and ill people we have in society, the less strain on the NHS, the less cost of medical care, the less cost of end-of-life care, and, of course, the less pensions to pay out. And we know that there's a massive pension deficit. So apologies if I'm being cynical about this, but I do feel it's really worth raising. The other big story, and I will come to you in a second, and thanks, James, for putting your hand up. If you do want to speak on the call, raise any issues, comment on what I'm saying, report in your good news. If anything's unfolding in your world, please put your hand up and you can join in the call. The other thing I was really interested to see this morning, and I really hope it's real and not some kind of hoax, but apparently the state of Texas is taking legal action against BlackRock, Vanguard and State Street for manipulating the energy market and for hiking the electricity prices by essentially rigging the market through a monopoly. And it's against the kind of monopoly rules. I don't know what the rules are in America, but we do have monopoly rules here in the UK. Now, the reason why I want to mention this is because I have first-hand knowledge of this, because I am currently in a legal wrangle, shall we call it, with an energy company. And I have counterclaimed £25,000 for harassment and stress and anxiety. Now, this particular energy company, I'll give you a brief resume, and apologies if I'm taking up a lot of the call, but this feels important to share. This energy company is a commercial energy only supplier, and I moved into a property on an agricultural estate that was with this company, and it had commercial meters that could not be transferred to a domestic user. The commercial energy supplier invoiced my landlord, who paid the bills. The landlord then invoiced me and I paid the bills. Now, the bills that I paid were at full commercial rate with full commercial VAT, and they were double what I was used to paying. This is quite a few years ago, before the rates hiked, so they were quite astronomical. I didn't want to rock the boat, and I paid up for the first few months because I didn't want to kind of rock the boat. However, eventually I started to question it. And then eventually, about 2 months before I left the property, the supplier, I was basically evicted. It's another story, but this is another eviction. I seem to have a long history of evictions. The eviction was over the TP actually. And that's another story. I won't go into it. But basically, then what happened is this supplier then re-raised the invoices to me, once again hiking. They weren't quite double again, but it was like insane. It was like they then resold the same electricity to me, or attempted to rebill me the same electricity that had already been paid for and I'd fully paid, to me at an even higher rate that they called out of contract rates. And then they wouldn't let me leave the property because they said I didn't have a contract with them and I needed to sign a form to contract with them so that I could decontract with them. So I'm like, aha. So I never actually contracted with them, and the bills were all out of contract rates. So they then proceeded to take me down a legal route, because I said, no, I've fully paid, and I've already paid. I paid a full amount for the electricity for just the 12 months I was there. I'm not paying you. I don't have a contract with you. And basically, they took it to court. Now, I entered a claim, but if you've done any dealings with the Northampton, it's now called Civil Business, it used to be called Small Claims Court. It's now called the Northampton Business Centre. Now, they must be dealing with millions and millions of claims every day, every week, every month. From you can imagine all of these claims being spat out by digital cameras everywhere and all of this stuff. I put in a counterclaim, but it was not processed by the court in time, and they issued a judgment against me. And despite me writing to all parties concerned to say that I had responded and providing evidence, they sent bailiffs, and who basically stole the car from my drive. Now, to stop them, I went and sat in the car, and they called the police, and the police said that they would smash the window. Now, this is all recorded on video. The police said they would smash the window, drag me out, arrest me, and I would be committing a criminal offence because it wasn't my car, and that I had to get out of it. Otherwise, I would be the criminal in the situation, even though I handed all the paperwork to the police and to the thugs. And this was all recorded. In the end, my son said, Mum, I don't want to see you arrested. Please leave the car because they're going to smash it in and they're going to arrest you. And I don't want you to be put in prison sort of conversation. They get to you through your children. Because I would have said, right, smash away, arrest me. I require a trial by jury. Anyway, this was all captured on video, and I have counterclaimed £25,000, and it is going through. And but the reason why I mentioned this, sorry, I forgot to I researched this energy company and discovered that this energy company had been bought out by asset management companies and bought out by a global asset management company based in Australia. So this is what's happening. All of these energy companies, they've all been bought out by these big asset companies, which are undoubtedly owned by the same people, BlackRock, and this, we're talking about a multi-billion-pound company oppressing individuals like me, vulnerable individuals like me, and hiking these energy prices that they don't even own the energy, I suspect. So it's a massive scandal. And the judge actually was very supportive to me, because my counterclaim started at 10,000, and he said, Miss Elnor, have you, he admonished the claimant's solicitor and said, you are aware of British Gas v Ferguson. Now, if you look at British Gas v Ferguson, this girl, Lisa Ferguson, she sued British Gas for harassment. That was just sending reminders after she told them to cease and desist, and she got a payout, and British Gas were found guilty. So I looked up that case, British Gas v Ferguson. If you're dealing with an energy supplier, look at the summary of that. And the judge invited me to consider whether I might wish to claim even more. And I'm like, yes, actually, yes, £25,000. And luckily, because of my income is so fluctuating, I was able to do that without paying a fee, because in the calendar month before I entered that claim, my income was below the limit that you need to be able to claim for free. So otherwise you have to pay 5%. I mean, it's a scandal. The courts are making huge amounts of money out of all of this. So anyway, I will keep you posted on that, and it's going to come to court. I did require a trial by jury, but they said you can't have one because it's civil, not criminal. Anyway, yes, and I do feel, JT says, not often you get a bit of a push in the right direction from the bench. But if you read British Gas and Ferguson, and also there was another one, Bristow and Suter, Leighton v Bristow and Suter, actually the judges, I believe, are starting to really respect we the people who put in intelligent responses and counterclaims and stand up to the bullies. And in fact, in Ferguson v British Gas, the judge praised Lisa Ferguson for standing against the bully boy tactics of British Gas and for taking a stand against them. She actually got massive praise. So anyway, that's my little intro. We seem to be at 12:19. I'm going to come to you. I'm going to shut up rabbiting. I'm going to come to Karine first. And who else had their hand up who's taken it down? Please put your... James, wasn't it? And David wants to come on maybe. So let's come first to Karine.
No, because it doesn't work if I'm not doing that. Okay.
How are you doing? You're live.
Oh, hi. Yes, yes. I've still got my hat on. I've been out for breakfast with friends. So, oh my God, what a journey you are on, Rachel. Well done. You know, your courage. So listen, I'm really just wanting to say that Rory Duff, who some of you may know, this incredible man, is seriously ill right now. He's in I don't know whether he's out of intensive care yet, but he's in Bath, and his kidneys, I don't know, certainly one of his kidneys is not working. And so there is a call for at 6 o'clock every day for people, particularly at that time, to do 10-minute meditation, sending him healing prayers, visualizing him well, and carrying on with his phenomenal work for earth energy and earth healing. So Pam Gregory had also suggested that on a Sunday evening, as part of the 7 o'clock global healing meditation for the earth, that Rory is also included in that. So right now we don't know what the state of play is with him.
Dialysis machine.
But yes, he is looking. The family were looking for a home kidney dialysis machine with someone who could train them in it, but the hospital for now are not wanting to put him on dialysis. I have no idea why that might be. One would hope that's just for best intention medical practice. I don't know. But anyway, the really important thing for me is that we really love this man and we really honor him, and we would love people to be aware of that and spread the word to hold him in love and prayers and healing for his best journey, which of course his soul journey will do what it needs to do. Or we would be devastated if he left.
Thanks, Karine. It's an interesting one, that, because there are quite a few healers who are falling ill.
Yeah. A very, very dear friend of ours, she is very, very seriously ill right now. Suddenly, out of the blue, wide awake, organic, lived very organically for decades. Yes. And it raises the question for me. I find myself thinking, gosh, if these shining lights in our lives who have shared so much over the past, especially the last few years that we've come in contact with, like if they were to leave now, what does that mean? And it's just like, well, actually we have to hold their legacy within us and carry on. And so it's kind of within the grief and the upset, and the questions about whole life and why we're here, all of that. But, you know, it's just like, okay, here is the legacy that they have shared, and this precious knowledge and wisdom that they have shared. And so that, I suppose, if these precious people leave, then we have to just carry on their gift. They're pointing the way, as Nick here is saying.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's really all I want to say, but sending much love to everyone. And
I'm also, it does raise an issue as well about going to the NHS for your solutions and getting diagnoses. I mean, I personally, tuning into my body, there have been times when I've thought, all is not right. And I've just sort of I could easily have gone to a doctor, but I've thought, no, I'm going to actually just take it into my hands and step up on solfeggio frequencies, being in nature, eating healthily, healing, and getting to the point where I think, actually, no, everything's fine. So I think, so this is an interesting one, isn't it? Where allopathic meets homeopathic, holistic. And I'm sure he would have gone into all of those metaphysical
I'm sure, yeah. I mean,
modes.
if his kidneys have failed, then you need to have medical intervention, or you are actually on your way.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But anyway, I just wanted to share
Thanks
that
for coming
with
on.
everyone. So,
Okay.
yeah, be well, everyone, and thank you.
Thanks, Corinne. So, yes, so 6 o'clock, is that every day?
Yeah, as far as I know, yeah. I mean, I could always just kind of update, you know, as somewhere on your Telegram, Rachel speak, you know, I know not a brand new comment, but I could just from time to time, when I know more, I could share that.
And then or you can put it in the People Speak Out, and I'll pick up, I'll monitor both channels,
of course,
and make sure they're shared as well as we build. Obviously, that channel's new, so it doesn't have so many followers. So okay, cool.
Great.
Thank you. Thanks for coming on. Thanks,
All
Corinne.
right.
And let's come to James now, who was originally had his hand up and then took it down. Hey, James, how are you doing?
Okay, can you hear me all right?
Yes. Welcome.
The internet kept dropping out, so I kept losing you. First of all, you'd freeze and then vanish completely, and trouble getting back in. That happened twice, unfortunately. Anyway, I'm back now, so I'll talk fast in case it happens again.
Do you think that's your internet or mine?
It's my internet. It said it was off, and then it was back on again. So it obviously dropped out at one point for some reason.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't get the reminder email, by the way, and I'm with Proton Mail, so for whatever reason it didn't arrive. But I just followed a previous week's link.
It definitely went this morning. Yeah, I got it anyway.
So I've already shared what I was mostly putting my hand up to share, which was Mike Yedin, former Vice President of Pfizer, a speech he made for Austrian inquiry of some sort. He mentions the fact that the jabs, going back to that, just to rake over old things going on, were bioweapons, and of course that matches in to some degree with what White Feather the Spirit Guide said. So I'll put both of those, a little clip from White Feather along with the Mike Yedin one, on my BitChute account, and rather than YouTube, and I'll put the link in the chat so people can follow it there and listen to what he said very recently. You know, this
Yes.
1st of November, I think his speech was.
The silver bullet one.
Yeah, that was it. So that'd be nice for, well, not nice, but be, a bit of an update of his current thinking. which is basically, I think he's thinking all along that he describes them as a bioweapon, that the jabs and all the other things going on in your life. God, I live a fairly sedate life in comparison. Go out, do a little shopping, and come home and do a bit of research or a bit of writing. And but I've enjoyed your stories, and good luck with your claim. And perhaps you should have gone for even more. Why not? You know, if you're in America, it'd probably be a couple of million or something. I think there were a few other things I was going to mention, but they keep dropping out. It confused me. I've forgotten what they were now. But anyway, I'll leave it at that. And,
Yeah.
thanks very
Thanks,
much.
James. And let's hope that the recording of this does not get struck off by our friends at YouTube, also part of Google, because of what you just mentioned. Hopefully you've spoken enough of a coded way for it to get under the radar, because a couple of weeks ago they struck one of these People Speak Out, because I tend to put them in the Rachel Elnor YouTube channel. They will go across to Odyssey because we don't have so many followers on Odyssey. Yeah, the other thing just to mention about the internet dropping in and out, because of where I've moved is there's no high-speed broadband here. I actually bit the bullet and invested in Starlink. This is controversial. Now, Starlink is Elon Musk's internet service. And I have to say, I mean, whatever you may think of Elon Musk and X and Trump and whatever, I have to say this Starlink system that he has invented, it's absolutely incredible, super fast. And you basically, it's just like a sort of flat dish that just points at the sky, that's attached to the house high up, just points to the sky. And boom, it's like instant. There's no contract. It is quite expensive, but you only pay by the month. So you only, it's like with, if you go to BT or Talk, you have to have an 18-month or a 24-month contract, and which is, I don't know, 30 quid a month or 50 quid a month or however. So this costs £70 a month, but you don't have to sign up for any minimum term. Obviously you have to invest in the kit, but you can literally put the kit anywhere. You can literally sit it in your garden or outside your caravan or something, and it will work anywhere where there's open sky. It's absolutely incredible. So that's a plug from me for Starlink. Anyway, I just thought I'd mention that. Don't worry, I'm not on the payroll of Elon Musk.
Where I am, just to finish off, is on the Isle of Wight, and we got cable internet, so we don't even have to have a landline. And
Like is that fibre?
Yeah, white fibre.
Oh yeah. Because where I have, there is no fibre. There's just copper, and they're phasing out copper. So I'm sort of in the land of the forgotten here.
Yeah, we get it for about £27 a month.
It says if you move location, you might have to update your account. Oh, I didn't know about that. Anyway, I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. Okay, cool. Well, thanks for coming on, James. And thanks for your contribution. So I'll mute you back there. Let's just come to the gallery screen because I'm recording that and speak of you. So would anyone like to come on and express, to share, to contribute, to have a chat? I am happy, of course, just to ramble on. Oh, here's David. Yes, he's got his real hand up. I feel sorry I forgot about you, David, because the system tends to work on yellow hands.
Hi, Rachel.
Hey, David. Let me just put it on to speak of you so we can see the whole of you fully. How are you doing?
It's ironic that your last speaker from the Isle of Wight, that was the location of Marconi in 1918.
Oh, really? I thought he was in Chelmsford because that's my hometown, Chelmsford in Essex, which there's a big Marconi factory in Chelmsford. Right. And they always said that's the home of radio, is Chelmsford.
Oh, well, the Isle of Wight was where he transmitted over to France and
Spain.
Right. And Spain got the Asian flu from it.
Oh, right. aren't you? We're probably going to get another strike from YouTube for talking about terrain theory. They don't like that, do they?
Yeah. I'd just like to mention on your Telegram group, you mentioned about this structure of 3D. We're not in a 3D dimension, we're actually in 4D dimension. The 4D dimension is the electrical.
Okay.
I can describe that because if you were if you can see that, oops,
Yes.
if you can see that, this is a perfect model of how all your energies work. As above, so below, as above, so below, as above, so below. And 24 million trillion cells are working the same as this.
Right.
Now that is 4 dimensions. That's electrical.
Okay.
Yeah? Now in the center, as Eckhart Tolle would describe, the center is the present moment. If
Yes.
you consider the top of the spiral is heaven and the bottom is earth, that center is the present moment. That's where we're all trying to achieve, the present moment.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
And the more we go back and get depressed about it, we go back to the earth. But again, we're still having this 4th dimension, which brings us back to heaven.
Yes.
So it's virtually impossible for any human being to be as low as what the earth, the lowest dimension. Because
Right.
24 trillion cells are working like this, as above, so below.
Okay. Very cool. That's very clever the way that's doing
I
that.
bought this in what they call that fishing village in Cornwall, Falmouth, in 35 years ago when I started Rainbow Tai Chi, and I've had it ever since. What they did in those days, these were made out of plastic, and they put them in prams to keep the baby quiet.
Okay.
But this is a steel one.
Yes.
And if you look on the internet, you'll see graphically like that.
Right. Yes. Yes. Yeah.
So that is exactly what is happening. But if you can see that, can you see it?
Yeah.
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 Given,
So,
if you look at it directly, you've got all the musical scale.
okay.
If you're
Interesting.
going down a tunnel.
That looks like the golden mean spiral.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the golden mean is also with regard to the golden ratio.
Yes.
The golden ratio there's an ancient Buddhist saying that all structures are impermanent. The
Yes.
structures is this structure here, because the heart is a catalyst, and this is where we're being programmed to believe catalysts belong outside of the body. The heart is a catalyst
Yes. Yes.
because it transforms one form of blood to another form of blood.
Yeah.
It's a catalyst.
Your hands are shaking almost as much as Diane Abbott, David. I don't know if
Yeah.
you saw that.
But can you see
Video
it?
of her in Parliament where she had the iPad and her hands were shaking. She was kind
Wouldn't be the first time. Wouldn't be the first time.
yeah, and very interesting. So just to talk
Yeah.
about 3D and 4D and 5D, which Kareen's mentioned that as well. That my understanding, when people talk about 3D, we're sort of talking about the physical that you can see.
Yeah.
So it's when
exactly.
people are restricted their awareness to only things you can see,
Yeah.
touch,
Exactly.
smell, hear. But the
Yeah.
4D is the metaphysical dimension of the invisible, which includes
Exactly.
waves and
Yeah.
electricity. So the 4D is the metaphysical. And then the 5D is the realization that it's all one energy, and that
Right.
what happens over here affects what happens over there, regardless of distance. So essentially what Kareem was talking about with prayers for Rory Duff, for example, focusing energy and intention onto a person or a place in the grid has tremendous power, because you're realizing that it's all one energy and we're all one interconnected. So there is no
Exactly. Electrically.
yeah. So this
Yeah.
is as
Now,
my
3D
understanding of 3D, 4D, 5D. Yeah.
My understanding of 3G is that a, a shaky triangle. Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
And so, from my understanding of Rainbow Tai Chi, we have an inner father, inner mother, and inner child, with the atomic theory made originally from Rutherford in 1921. He discovered the atomic theory. Now the proton is the head, the mind, very, very positive. The neutron is the heart, very, very yin. And the electron is the inner child with the navel center. And every movement we have within our own boundary is created, every movement is created from the navel center. And this is why when a child is born, then the cord is of that structure.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
And that
Interesting.
and that electrical structure continues throughout the life of a person. In fact, it's the same through all creatures on the planet.
Yeah, yeah. So, David, going back to this issue of illness and energy, do you have any insights on, like, if someone does fall ill with a cancer, with a kidney failure or
Yeah.
whatever, what's causing it and what's the remedy
Yeah.
energetically?
Energetically, it's like this. Just a moment. About a year ago, I got an echocardiogram scan at the hospital. And the nurse was looking at me. The monitor was to the left of me. And I said, "Can I see what's happening in my heart?" And she turned the monitor down round, and there, in the monitor, while my heart was going boom, 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 there was that description.
Right.
Now that is AC/DC. Those peaks and troughs is AC, alternating current.
Yeah.
The line in the middle is the average, which is
Right.
DC, direct current.
Yes.
Mr. Edison found direct current, and then Mr. Tesla came along and said, "Hey, what about nature? What about the 4 seasons? That goes up and down, which is AC."
Yes.
So when I saw that on the monitor, I said, "I'm going to get that video from the NHS." It took me 4 months writing to the James Cook to get that video, and I've got 2 discs and I can see my own heart.
Yeah.
And a nurse that had been in the NHS for about 15 years, she said, "Well, we never see anything like that. We always see the top part that is damaged."
Right.
So that's AC and that's DC.
So is that a good reading? Was that a healthy heart, or is there a problem
It's
with
a
your
healthy
heart?
heart. It's
Oh,
a healthy
good.
heart.
That's good
You
to
only
know.
look, and that's when I'm in a calm state. Now you see the reflection on the lake. It's a wobbly lake, like
Yes.
the reflection. That's the healthy heart.
Right.
The nurse said we only see that top part, and that's all because that's the damaged part.
Okay.
They don't see the true essence of the physical heart.
Mm.
And this is why it's been kept from us for about 150 years. Had Mr. Rockefeller had told the nurse and the doctor in the 1880s, said, listen to your own heart, we wouldn't be in this tumble crisis.
So David, if that graph that you're showing there, that reading was all kind of all over the place and chaotic, how would you bring it back into health?
You've got to go into the 4 seasons of your own body.
Right.
Because pain, no matter what form of pain it is DC, direct current.
Right.
It's the average. The same with COVID. They wanted to crash the peaks and troughs to bring it to the average. And the average person in the street submitted to the political agenda.
Yes.
So it was DC, and that's how people have passed away, through direct current.
Right.
The only way we can avoid that is by going back to nature, the 4 seasons of nature, the highs and the lows.
Yeah.
The icicles on the end of our nose, and the beauty of sunrise in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm.
This is why we try to avoid these extremes of temperature, but the more we accept totally where we are, where our body is, where our heart, because the heart is the catalyst.
Yes.
You'll find very, very few books will describe what the heart is. I haven't found one actually, but scientists use the word catalyst with regard to materials outside of themselves. Chemistries, they're all catalysts. They find catalyst here, catalyst there, but they never ever connect to their own physical heart.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thanks, David. Suzanne's put her hand up, so I was allowing you to talk because we didn't have any other hands up, but now Suzanne's come in. Let's come to Suzanne and let her add her thoughts, and then if you want to come back on, we can. We're 1:45, so we've got some time. Hi, Suzanne. How are you
I'll try
doing?
and be quick. Hi there. Good. Really good. Glad to be able to get on the call at last. I've been watching the recordings. But I wanted to add some stuff around the heart, which really just gives a bit more body to what David is addressing around the heart and electricity. Number one, the heart is made out of, in development, is made out of one sheet of muscle, which then folds. So it's not built as 4 separate things. And the action of the pumping of the blood, it actually vortexes the blood through the heart. And when you add that to what we know about structured water, it's like, cool, this is a really good thing. So that action also helps restructure the liquid in the heart so that it can conduct electrical flow more efficiently. And the natural electrical flow in the body spirals. So the energy isn't coming in straight lines, it's a spiraling force.
David's showing
which
us
is
his
reflected
spiral machine
our entire
as you're talking,
physical makeup. So that gets me really excited. And so I'm distinguishing now electricity between organic electricity, life force electricity, and man-made, substandard, clunky electricity, dirty electricity, effectively.
Okay, yeah.
So they both have very different effects on organic matter. And there's a fantastic book, which is a really challenging read for someone who's not a scientist, called The Invisible Rainbow by Arthur Furstenberg. And it's completely fascinating. For me, it's a very hard read because it accounts for so much of what is wrong with us physically. Well, not just us, but the whole of what's going on out in the natural world.
Yeah.
The effects of electricity and various forms of radiation are devastating. It's slow, it's insidious, and it undermines every single organic function.
Yeah.
And this was known back in the 1600s. They knew more about the effect of man-made electricity, or electricity, high voltage electricity, on the human body back then than we do now. Because all that stuff they investigated has been sidelined, wallpapered over, ignored.
Yeah.
So the amount of electricity we've got floating around in the atmosphere and buzzing about is ridiculous.
Yes.
It's harming us, it's harming all life, and it's harming the balance within the Earth's atmosphere between the Earth, the sun, and the rest of the cosmos. It's putting it way out of balance. Plus, we got all the solar activity. Plus, we got the magnetic poles flipping. I am not surprised people are getting sick. I'm really not surprised.
And probably
So-
all those Starlink satellites aren't helping either.
We have no idea what we're doing. The human species is meddling with stuff,
Yeah.
not realizing what the fuck they're meddling with.
Well, once again, it comes down to money, doesn't it? Because it's like you have an objective, right? We need 5G because we need AI, because we need driverless cars, because we need robotic everything. Therefore, we'll find the scientists who will agree that 5G is totally harmless, and we'll just bulldoze it through. That's kind of, in a nutshell, is what's happening, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
It was really
So-
interesting when I went to London last month to do the business show. After the first day, like in the soup of electromagnetic stress, I felt so ill.
Yeah.
I felt so ill, and it was like, because I spend most of my time in nature,
Yeah.
and just to be in London, just in this soup of, I could only put it down to that. It was just literally.
Well, I'm not sure if it's any better where I am, which is in Wiltshire, about half an hour from Avebury. We
Yeah.
have so much chemtrail stuff going on.
Okay.
Also, my partner and I live pretty close to a transmitter tower, which serves the whole of Salisbury. We're 40 minutes from Salisbury, but apparently if this thing goes out of action, Salisbury loses its TV signal, plus God knows what else. But the pair of us our hair is thinning so fast in this past year. I'm getting really concerned. And I came to the conclusion yesterday, it's time to get hold of one of those things that measures radiation and EMFs and just see if that's part of what's going on here. Because my sense really is that we are being poisoned atmospherically and radioactively. And we are now really showing the effects physically. I don't like it. It's actually got me worried, and I'm pretty good at not being worried.
Yeah. Thanks for that, Suzanne. Thanks for coming
Okay.
on and sharing and raising that. James has put his hand up again. Are you happy? Are you complete? Should we go back to James?
Perfect.
Okay, fab. Let's come back to James.
Yeah.
Hi, James. Hi.
Hello. I was just going to say, rather than since you had a few minutes spare, just and chemtrails got mentioned, which we all hate, of course. We've all got common sense. There were a few positive things. Like everybody probably thinks all I'm sharing is a lot of negative things most of the time, but that's only to help expose them where possible. But the good news was from various spirit guides like Nikki Allen. She's an extremely good, she calls herself psychic medium, I think, English, and she channels, amongst others, archangels as they're known, spirit beings really from an extremely high level, and they given us a lot of positive news for the coming 2025, 2026. So we can look forward to a better world. And part of the things you mentioned on a recent video, or the archangel mentioned, is that they will be stopped, chemtrails, by 2020, either 2025 or 2026. I'm not sure which he said, or he or she. So that's one bit of good news, but there will be lots of other things as well. So I think and it's all tying in astrologically if you follow some of the
Yeah.
astrologers, and it's matching in perfectly. And the spirit guides, they mention the astrology as well. So it's all going to collapse the agenda, as it were. But we've got a bit of the rough time to go through of them trying to coerce us in different ways and trying to push through their agendas. But basically, the advice from all of them is don't cooperate.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd just share that. So we can look forward to a better world. It's just ride out the storm and do what you can and don't cooperate.
Thanks, James. Well, I personally think that the fact that RFK is on Trump's team is a massive breakthrough, because he's been obviously speaking out against COVID since the beginning, and he's speaking out that chemtrails will stop and they're going to intervene on all of this unhealthy stuff. So I do feel that there is a massive shift when you've got people like RFK speaking truth, and who's got the legitimacy now of being part, well, assuming he's not blocked by I think it doesn't have to be voted through by the Senate, all these appointments, but I suspect he will be confirmed.
Yeah, I'm totally with you on giving Trump and his team a chance, and hopefully he's improved from his last time around, and with the people he's put in his team, that we will see a massive change in America, and with hopefully knock-on effects over here.
Yeah. Hopefully Corrine, you're saying my volume's diminished. Maybe because it was in my hair. And Michelle's saying Tom Cowan's written an excellent book on the heart. She can share a PDF version on the New People Speak Out Telegram group. That would actually be a good option to use that rather than the chat for sharing your links, because then it's a bit more permanent and easily available than the chat. Just to mention, if we can start using that Telegram group to share all this amazing stuff, then it becomes like a permanent river of content for anyone that joins in the future. Cool. So thanks, James, for that. Agnieszka, do you want to come on and talk about structured water, as you're here and it's been a mention? If you don't mind me picking on you. Oh, I need to ask you to unmute.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, I can comment about structured, but I don't structure it with any equipment. I structure it with intention.
Okay.
Alchemy, So I don't know what you've talked about.
We're talking about the spin, the spiral. You know when. Yeah, when you put water down through a kind of device which spirals it and makes it into structured water. That's what was being talked about before. But you're saying you do that with intention.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know many people. I do it with intention, but bringing vortex spiral into water brings it life. So definitely, if you are drawn to it, do it. Anything that brings mobility and fluidity back to it is fine. I'm just not personally drawn to it. The way I work with it is with intention, especially when I make my medicine. So I haven't worked with that. I know that devices and people buy them, but I don't. So that's all I can really say about it. I know that there's quite a few different devices and people happily use it, and different filters. But I like going to the different locations, get the water, the pure water that I like. There's one in near Forest of Dean, my favorite. I think it's the best UK water I've found yet thus far. And then work with it intentionally and with the moon and phases and different seasons. Yeah. I'm so sad we are not going to have the celebration of water. I didn't know it's not going ahead, but hopefully in the future.
Yeah, so Eli was masterminding that, and it was it was just proved a bit of a bridge too far, and yeah, so that was a sad thing. But anyway, it is what it is, and things have flowed on. So hopefully we can do something in the future. We'll just have to, yeah, going with the flow. That's
I
the
know
way.
totally. If people have got like questions, I can leave my number if you'd like to pick my brains about anything water. If I can
Yeah, cool.
answer, I'm happy to do that. If I can't, then I can refer you on to other people, because there's so many of us working with water, and every single person in different capacity, you know,
Yeah,
or different approaches. So I would drop my number here if that's okay.
that's great. And Michelle is talking about Veda Austin, of course, who's doing
Yeah,
a lot of work
yeah.
around intention and water. It's
It
such a
really
fascinating
works.
subject.
Absolutely. And water is, like, for me, it's consciousness. Whatever energetics you send to it, it reflects it back. And I also worked with like freezing it and photographing it. I've got this energetic artistic approach to water. So I film it and photograph it, and I sing to it, and I receive
Yeah.
messages from it for humanity. So different ways.
Cool. Thanks, Agnieszka. So we're going to just come to Suzanne just to finish the
Our
last
session.
words.
I'm going to reply.
Thank you.
I just want to bring something really bright and positive to the water thing, because had my car serviced, and they parked it in their little car park at the back of the garage at the end of the day, and I had to collect it the next morning. And when I went to collect it at 8:30 in the morning, the frosty patterns on the car bonnets in this little car park, there were 3 which had nature images in the frost. It was absolutely stunning.
Wow.
One was like foliage patterns, just like works of art. One was leaf patterns, and one was kind of nature dancing. And I hadn't got my phone with me because it had run out of charge. And it was so astounding. It was absolutely beautiful. So my takeaway from that was that the more we pour our love and prayers and energy into water and see it as liquid light, liquid crystal, the holder of the Akashic record, you know, however it works, it's getting the message. Water is healing. And it's doing healing work. And to see it on those car bonnets, displaying these images without any obvious human input to do that, was just like, thank you. Thank you so much. It was just beautiful.
Thanks for that, Suzanne. Thanks for reminding us about that. Yeah, very interesting. Cool. And Agnieszka, if you could put those messages into the Telegram group as well, because SAS has created the People Speak Out Telegram group, so we can start to get all these links and contacts. And cool, great. Okay, well, thank you all. It's 1:00. Thank you all so much for joining. Thanks for the conversation. And we will see you again in 2 weeks' time. I'm not sure who the host will be. I think Helen's now away, so it will hopefully be SAS, and if not SAS, it may be me again, and that's in 2 weeks. So that's going to be the 16th of December. So that will be a special Christmas edition. Sending you so much love. I'm just going to switch back to gallery view so you can give a wave, and we'll use it for the thumbnail. Lots of love, give a wave. Thank you. Have a great day. Have a great couple of weeks, and bye.